Hey everybody, this is going to be part 6 of my information gathering series. And in this video, we're going to talk a little bit more about economic information. So here in Brave Browser, I'm going to type in EIA STEO report. And this stands for the Energy Information Administration's Short-Term Energy Outlook Report. So we're going to go ahead and click on this first link right here. Now do note, it says EIA.gov. So this is a government information source right here. Now, pay attention to this right here. It says release date, January 10th, 2023. So this is pretty spanking new. Now it says the next release date here is February 7th of 2023. So this information comes out pretty much every single month. And there's a lot of good information in here. So I'm pretty much just going to read you out some of the information that you can expect from this report. So I went ahead and downloaded the full report. So I'm going to pull that up right now. So this is the short-term energy outlook. It's the first one for the new year. So let's just scroll down a little bit. And right here, we have this nice little table. Now, if we wanted to focus on crude oil and gasoline prices here, we can focus on these first three line items right here. So right here it says Brent crude oil spot price, dollars per barrel. So spot price is essentially if you wanted to go out and buy this commodity right now, this is what you're going to pay. So in 2022, this was $100.94. In 2023, they're forecasting this to go down quite a bit to $83.10. In 2024, they're expecting this to go down to $77.57. Now, right here for retail gasoline price, dollars per gallon. In 2022, that was $3.97. Keep in mind, this is a national average. For 2023, they expect this to go down pretty significant to $3.32. Now, in 2024, this is just expected to decline just a little bit to $3.09. Now, with United States crude oil production, million barrels per day, in 2022, we had 11.86. 2023, this is expected to ramp up quite a bit to 12.41. And in 2024, it's expected to ramp up a little bit more to 12.81. So, we can scroll down a little bit more to get some pretty juicy information here. So I'm literally just going to read it out to you so you can get an idea of the quality of information that you're being fed here. So right here, we see global liquid fuels production. So we saw earlier in this table right here that production was expected to increase. So as you guys can see, increasing production here. So here in this little excerpt right here, they're going to explain why that is. So it says, we forecast that world production of petroleum and other liquid fuels will increase by 1.1 million barrels per day in 2023 and 1.7 million barrels per day in 2024. This increase reflects large growth in several non-OPEC countries and in OPEC output that more than offset 1.5 million barrels per day of declines in Russia's production over the forecasted period. So here they're basically saying, hey, you know what? We're going to have these non-OPEC countries that are going to make up for the lack of Russia's production. Now it says right here, we forecast that the United States and other non-OPEC producers outside of Russia will add 2.4 million barrels per day of production in 2023 and an additional 1.1 million barrels per day in 2024. The largest source of non-OPEC production growth over the forecasted period is the United States, which contributes 40% of growth in 2023 and 60% of growth in 2024. United States growth is driven by increases in crude oil production in the lower 48 states, mostly in the Permian region, as well as combination of increases to production of hydrocarbon gas liquids and biofuels, which together account for about 40% of the United States liquid fuels production growth in 2023 and 2024. So basically what they're saying here is, hey, you know what? The United States is going to carry the bulk of this increase. Now, if we go down a little bit more, they give us some more pretty good information. So it says, outside of the United States, other major sources of growth in non-OPEC liquid fuel production come from Canada, Brazil, Guyana, and Norway. We expect that increases in Canada's production will be driven by projects to improve distribution bottlenecks, including the startup of the Trans Mountain Pipeline Expansion Project. Brazil's increases are driven by new floating production, storage, and offloading deepwater rigs. And it says right here, a noteworthy new source of world oil supply is Guyana, which first began producing oil in 2019 after the discovery of new offshore deepwater Liza oil fields. Critical investments and new production vessels helped Guyana's oil production increase to an average of 260,000 barrels per day in 2022. We expect further ramp-ups in output and the development of new oil resources over the next 2 years, helping oil production in Guyana increase to an average of 540,000 barrels per day in Q4 of 2024. So essentially they're saying, hey, you know what? We got this new world oil supply, and that's in Guyana. And right now, we're having 260,000 barrels per day in 2022, but this is expected to double and then some by Q4 of 2024. So this is some good news here. Now it says growth in Norway's oil output in 2023 stems from the recent startup of the offshore Johan, however the heck you pronounce that, Phase 2 expansion project, which will result in Norway's liquid fuels production rising by more than 500,000 barrels per day over the forecast to reach almost 2.5 million barrels per day in 2024. So hey, more good news. I mean, this is the reason why we're going to see this increase in production. Now, it says right here, we expect that these sources of growth in non-OPEC liquid fuels supply will offset declines in Russia's oil production. We forecast that Russia's petroleum and other liquid fuels production will decline to 9.5 million barrels per day in 2023 from 10.9 million barrels per day in 2022, and then average 9.4 million barrels per day in 2024. So essentially, hey, you know what? We're going to decline. Now, the extent to which European Union sanctions, other sanctions, and the G7 price cap will affect Russia's crude oil and petroleum product exports and production remain uncertain. So keep in mind, this price cap went into effect not too long ago. So they're still uncertain how this is really going to change the landscape here. Now it says, we expect that most crude oil exports from Russia will continue to find buyers, but we expect the sanctions on the petroleum products will cause greater disruptions to Russia's oil productions and exports because finding alternative buyers as well as transportation and other services to reach those buyers is likely to be more challenging than for crude oil. Oops, went a little too far here. All right, so back on track. So it says right here, OPEC crude oil production in our forecast averages 29.5 million barrels per day in 2024, up 0.8 million barrels per day from 2022. Part of this growth is driven by Venezuela, following the United States Department of Treasury issuing General License 41 at the end of November. Chevron is resuming oil production in Venezuela for export to the United States. Our OPEC production forecast is subject to considerable uncertainty, driven by a combination of possible outcomes for country compliance to existing OPEC Plus production targets and changes to existing OPEC Plus targets, as well as ongoing developments in Iran, Libya, and Venezuela. So if you guys remember, Chevron, they basically got approval to go over into Venezuela and get the oil supply from there. But do remember, a lot of people were against this move. So this is basically some of the information that you could get from the short-term energy outlook reports. So as you can tell, it's pretty quality information, and this comes out once a month. So you can expect once a month, early on in the month, to get this report that's going to tell you all about what is going on in the basically broad macro landscape of oil supply and production and pricing. So hope you guys enjoyed this video and have a good one.